I bought the S25 Ultra in a jet black edition. That's only available through Samsung.com as an exclusive color. So if you have already seen videos of the S25 Ultra on other YouTube channels, you would have seen that the black one it's called the titanium black, where you see black at the back and then titanium on the edges. But online you get the full black version called the jet black. So that's what I've gone for. I've been super excited to move from iOS to Android. The last Android devices I really badly wanted to buy was the Samsung 7 Note, and then the whole Fire shenanigans happened and Samsung withdrew every single device from the planet, and I moved to iOS and the rest was history. Now I was ready to move. I released a couple of videos on why, but despite me ordering it, despite me still being excited, I am really annoyed at the way things have unfolded today, including the Unpacked event, including some of Samsung's decision in terms of allowing everybody to release their first impressions of the devices ahead of the event. Now there is a narrative about someone should upgrade or not, and that is not doing well, and that's giving users a lot of buyer's remorse. Let's say next year Samsung give me a device ahead of the event. It is still wrong, I think, because it just kind of just takes away the hype. Everything that you build up, it takes away the hype. I think whoever you believe, you take their word, and if they say it's bad, it's going to be bad. The same thing happened with iPhone 16. So many people have said it's bad, and no one ended up buying it. And I think this might happen to the S25 Ultra. But here's why, in detail, why I'm super annoyed. So firstly, when the event started, there's probably like 2 minutes delay before the event starts, and I can already see all my notifications go up that all the famous YouTubers have got the devices. There's nothing wrong in them, but what Samsung should have done was to probably embargo and stop them from releasing these first impressions before the event. So for anyone that was looking forward to hearing from Samsung themselves, I felt a bit like the party was a little bit ruined by every single YouTuber, every single well-known YouTuber just releasing the first impressions of the devices. Pretty much everyone is saying it's not a meaningful upgrade year on year. Yeah, it might be. So was iPhone 16 compared to iPhone 15. They're not meaningful upgrades year on year. But for anyone who wants to update 2 years, 3 years on, these updates are fair. But what actually happened was all these devices got reviewed without actually reviewing the main thing that Samsung want to say, because Samsung spent the entirety of the event focusing on AI, talking about how great the AI is and how it is done at a device level and how it gets deleted after a while, and no one really spoke about that, right? So if the AI was supposed to be the instrumental thing with this S25, why give the devices to all these people and not let them experience that? So I was pretty frustrated with that. Secondly, the entire event, Samsung's probably taken 5 minutes to talk about the device. As someone who was looking to switch from an iPhone to Android, tuning into that, I probably didn't hear as much as I wanted, which is why it left me frustrated. I ended up buying it because I've made the decision to switch to Android because of the issues with the iOS. But I mean, what's happening to the S Pen? What is happening to, what is the key difference between the S24 to the S25 other than the 40% increases on the CPUs and NPUs and all these words? They've sort of stopped short of explaining what the devices can do. Previously, they would go on and on about the several parts of the devices, but this year it just felt a bit like AI. Which brings me down to my third point. AI is at the center of this phone, right? It's very personalized. It is individual to a user. That's what Samsung makes you believe. But the only thing is they teamed up with Google, and the benefit of that is Google apps can now trigger another execution within the Samsung native apps, which is fantastic, right? So if you want to look for things like your favorite football team and then getting the AI to enter calendar events, that's fantastic. The fact that Samsung has teamed up with Google shows that some of these features will come to other devices, which is fantastic for anyone using Android. And the other thing is this whole partnership just means that you will get to test the Gemini Advanced for 6 months. Samsung haven't explained properly in terms of what's part of Gemini Advanced and what's not part of Gemini Advanced. So if the phone is all centralized around AI, but you're only getting to play with it for 6 months, and then you have to pay with it, that doesn't sit well with me. Again, the rumors have been there, right, since last year, where Samsung had ideas to move portions of or entirety of the AI into a paywall. It feels a bit like you pay £1,300, but you end up having to pay a little bit more to use features which they might suck you into in 6 months. And then there's a few other things, right? Like the S Pen, I'm hearing things like S Pen has lost a lot of its features. One of the main reasons why I always wanted to buy an Android device, especially Samsung device, was the S Pen. So right now I'm looking forward to it, but it turns out that it's missing out on a lot of Bluetooth features. And apparently it's because Samsung thinks that no one's really using those features. Instead, everyone's resorting to the Ultra Watch or the Samsung Ring to trigger like taking photos through Bluetooth. I feel a bit like it's a bit of a lie, because why would you take away a feature that was probably part of the entire Note and the Ultra series and then to blame it on another accessory? So it almost feels a bit like forcing buyers to buy more accessories. And also like removing functions like Smart Select and then rewording them into Select AI. I felt a bit like this is where Samsung could have explained a lot in the Unpacked event, but they didn't do that. But it's not all bad things. There have been some good things that came out of it. One thing was, they spoke about sustainability. I just felt a bit like if you really care about sustainability and you don't really want people to zone out, you need to put that at the front of the event. But that's really great to hear from them. And then also with the roadmap, you could see there's a Trifold phone coming up. There is a VR device coming up, and there's also smart glasses coming up. And then also they've teased us with the Samsung Edge device. There's not much they've announced after that, but it does look a bit like it's a competition for the iPad Air. And lastly, great discounts. I mean, price the phone at $1,299 and then give you all the discounts to get you to order through Samsung.com. So for example, when I ordered my device, I used the Samsung app and used the code app5, but it gave me a 10% discount. That's fantastic. They also threw a Samsung Bud 3, which is great. Again, if I'm moving away from the iOS ecosystem, I'd probably do with a headphone, which is great. But then why price the devices so high? If you're going to drive a lot of the bargain. Those are really good things. But yeah, like I just in a summary, I just felt the entire event was a little bit underwhelming. If you just go to Samsung's YouTube channel and just have a look at their Samsung Ultra's promotional video, it's 5 minutes long. Every other thing was just AI. I really hope this AI thing works. I've invested in it. I've now bought my device and I hope it works. The other thing is, this is not something that you would see Apple do. This is why Apple stands up, because they wouldn't have given their devices way ahead of time to anybody. Those are my thoughts, and I didn't want to do a video, but I just felt I had to get that out. If you like the video, do hit the subscribe button. I'm very close to 1,000. I don't like asking for these things, but it feels a bit like every time I ask, I get subscribers, so please do it. Thank you.